Hi friends and welcome to this ultimate guide to enchanting. I'm your host the Obsidian Noob and today's video is perfect for beginners and also experienced players. You might learn something too. So make sure that you grab yourself a pen and paper for that all important note taking, keep the pause button handy and use the timestamps below to navigate this video. This is going to be fast paced and we're going to cover everything, but if you do get a chance, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. So let's talk about enchanting. What is it? Well, enchanting is the process of taking ordinary items or tools and giving them some kind of extra hidden power. It might be that you improve your armor to be more protective or do something different like help you breathe underwater. Or it might be completely empowering your weapons to do epic amounts of damage to mobs around the world. And how is this going to happen? Well, it's all going to be made possible by this, the Enchanting Table, which we'll cover right now. Now the Enchanting Table recipe is quite straightforward, but it has got a couple of tricky items that we'll need to get, the Obsidian and the Diamond. Now the first part is going to be making the books because that's relatively simple. Look for some water, find yourself some sugarcane like this, try to leave the bottom one so it will grow back and then you can turn that into paper, and getting the leather is just a case of finding some cows. Then you're going to just put down your crafting table, then you're going to go across to your items tab. And then you've got your paper, which you can make there, and you've got your leather as well, which we can then turn into books. And that's going to be part one of this recipe complete. More experienced players, you'll have your own ways of doing this, but if you're newer to the game, what you're going to want to do is find a high area and then hopefully find yourself some raw iron ore, a bit like this. You're going to need some of that for your armor so you can explore for this next part, but more importantly, you need to have an iron level pickaxe or better to go and find diamonds. Generally speaking, the further down the world you go on the y-axis, the more diamonds you will find. I found all of these at -36, but generally speaking, I would go down to -57 around bedrock level where they are more common. But again, iron level pickaxe, if you've got better, then great. You can also find them out in open areas a bit like this, so keep your eyes peeled. The next part of our recipe, the final part, is the obsidian. So we're going to use iron to make a bucket and then fill that with water, and then we're going to find some static lava. If you find moving lava, it will just turn into cobblestone, but if it is a source block with no movement, it will turn into obsidian. And then here's a little tip for you: break a block off to the side, put your water back in before you start mining, because if there is lava underneath this block, then we potentially would lose that into the lava and need to start all again. So with that milestone complete, you now have an enchanting table, and the next thing to talk about is the importance of bookshelves. Now bookshelves are really important in this process because they are what power the enchanting table. Enchantments themselves come in 3 different levels, 1, 2 and 3. The higher the level, the more powerful generally the enchantment is. You would need level 3 to get the highest level enchantments. Sure, you can just deploy one bookshelf with your enchanting table and get level 1 enchantments, but let's face it, when you're using the different levels of experience and the crystals, you're going to want the best items you can get, just like this bow here from a level 3 enchantment. Now the real challenge for a 15 bookshelf setup is going to be getting enough books. In fact, you're going to need 45 leather, 135 paper and 23 of any wood, and that is going to be a long slog if doing it all manually. However, there are some shortcuts. If you're brave enough, you can go into a mansion if you find one, and you can break down some of the bookshelves to get the books that way. A safer method is to find a village where you can either trade with a librarian, or you can go into some houses and take some of the bookshelves from there. Next up, let's talk about configurations. We know we need 15 bookshelves to get the maximum level, and we need to set them up something a bit like this so the runes start flowing. Here are just some designs and things that I've used in the past. You can use more bookshelves if you want to, it makes no difference, but you need 15 for those levels. With the table and the configuration complete, we can now start preparing to enchant, and for that we need the power source, which is Lapis crystals. You can find these from around level 0 all the way down to the world's end, and to put it into perspective, half a stack of these will give you enough for about 11 level 3 enchants, so you don't need that many. Unfortunately, enchanting does cost levels of experience, so you are going to need a sustainable experience resource. Something like an XP farm for zombies from a spawner is a great way of doing this. Now in this final section, we're going to take a look at the user interface and how to enchant items, I'll talk you through how to re-roll the enchantments if you get ones you don't like, and then we'll talk about combining some enchantments as well. So, with our setup and everything ready to go, we're going to have a look now at how to physically enchant something. What we're going to see here is the space for the lapis crystals, which we'll put here, and then this other space is all about the item that you're going to want to enchant. So we'll put our sword in for now, and you can see we've got levels 1, 2 and 3 enchantments, and then alongside on the right is the level of the enchantment as well. So we're looking at the level 30 ones, and we can see we can get sharpness 4 on that, and if we select sharpness 4, then you'll see it enchants the item. The lapis crystals has decreased by 3, which was the amount that it cost us for the enchantment, and as we come out as well, you can see the experience levels is now down to 27 where we've used that. Going back to the table, if we put in the lapis crystals again and we put in another sword, you'll see that this time the third one is greyed out because we're under level 30, so we can't do the level 30 enchant, but we could still do the level 1 and 2 enchants if we wanted to, and this is why I said about you need a good XP source to keep getting the experience. This table will only allow you to put one enchantment on each item. There are ways of combining enchantments, which we'll talk about in just a sec, but for now that's really worth knowing, and I have made a video on the best weapon and armor enchantments that might help you make that decision so you can pick a bit more carefully. So what happens when you've done all of this preparation but you just don't want any of the enchantments that the table is offering you? Well, that's where the concept of re-rolling comes in. I'll use this example with our sword. You can see we've got unbreaking and we've got 2 levels of sharpness there, but we've already got a sword with sharpness 4 on it, so that's useless, right? So what I do is I put in an item a bit like a book or any other item, take a level 1 enchantment, and then that re-rolls everything. And in fact, actually we got a bonus there, we got knockback as well. But now we've got sharpness 4, we've got a bane, and we've got sharpness 1. Again, it's pretty much useless to us, so we can take the sword off, put another book on and re-roll it again, but this time you see it's re-rolled. Now this is the thing that's really important here to note with re-rolling, is that it doesn't just re-roll it for a sword, it will re-roll every single enchantment for all of the items. So what you'll need to do is go on and check all of your items each time to see if there's something that you want before making that final decision to re-roll, otherwise you might just lose that elusive mending or silk touch that you've been looking for hours. We've looked at the enchantment table, so let's look at the anvil and how you can use it to combine enchantments. For this we're going to do 2 different examples. The first one is the same enchantment, the second is a different mixed enchantment. So for this one we'll use diamond swords. We've got a sharpness 1 and another sharpness 1. If we put one of those in each of the boxes, you can see the cost is 3, so it'll be 3 levels. We don't use the lapis for this, but then it will give us a sharpness 2 sword. Again, if we put this sharpness 2 sword in and another sharpness 2, this time it's 5 levels of enchantment cost, but the output is a sharpness 3 sword. The thing to note here though is, unlike the enchantment table, you will only get what is in the output, you won't get any bonuses. So now let's take a look at how to mix enchantments. So we'll take our sharpness 3 sword and we'll take another sword. We could rename it, but we won't bother doing that. But we can put an unbreaking 3 in, and although it's going to cost a whopping 14 levels of experience, we would get a combined sword with 2 enchantments on it. The other trick though that I've learned is that if you move the items around, so we take the second one and put it in the first slot and the first one in the second slot, we can actually get that for 11. So I don't know why, but the levels are a lot lower sometimes when you do that. So let's do it again with knockback 2 on that one and our combined one. It's a whopping 25 levels of experience. Swapping them round though, we can get it for 20. Still can't afford it because of all the enchanting we've done, but that's definitely something that will save you a lot of levels of experience in the future. So it's definitely worth playing around with. You can make yourself some really powerful items, and this is just another part of enchanting to play about with. And there you have it, everything that you need to know to get started with enchanting. I'll put the card up for the videos that I talked about with the enchantments, that might help you out. But if this has helped you out, then please do smash that like button and subscribe to the world of the Obsidian Noob. In the meantime, be safe out there, don't die, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching.